Jared Polin, FroKnowsPhoto.com. Photo of the week. Here we go. This is Brent Smith of Shinedown. Now, some of you may have heard of Shinedown, some of you may have not. Well, they've sold over 3 million records in the last, 6 years since they came onto the scene. Started very small, and they've built their way up. If you haven't heard of them, go take a look at their music. Shinedown.com probably, or just Google Shinedown, or go into Pandora, type in Shinedown. You can't miss it. This was a long time ago. I'm pretty sure this was their show. This was, 2004? I wonder if I can check out that date. Let me see. Let me go in the library. Let me see if we had the times and everything set proper in that camera. Yeah, December 11th, 2004. So I was correct. 2004. So here we go. Let's look at the settings. Nikon D2H. A lot of people bitched about a 4 megapixel camera, saying 4 megapixels wasn't good enough. And I always said a 4 megapixel professional camera is going to be much better than, say, a Rebel at the time, which was an 8 megapixel or 6 or whatever. I'm pretty sure it was an 8 megapixel Rebel digital. I'm not even sure what it was back then. But I once had a guy call me to shoot a wedding, and he goes, if you don't have a camera that's 8 megapixels or more, I can't hire you. I said, would you rather have somebody with professional cameras, professional lenses, or a Rebel with a crappy lens? And we left it at that, because I just wasn't gonna, I wasn't gonna have that conversation and be like, yeah, my 4 megapixels is better than those 8 megapixels. I didn't feel like explaining it. So this was 2004. Shot it at 1/125th of a second, f13, 200 ISO, 48 millimeters, using the 17-55 2.8. I used a strobe in this. I carried my white lightnings with me, one light, one umbrella, in a small room about 8 feet by 8 feet with an orange wall. Yeah, Trocadero in Philadelphia. It had an orangey wall, which really contrasted well against Brent's red hair, the fingernail polish and everything. I never met Brent before this time. Basically, set up. I didn't even set up a shoot, I'm pretty sure. I just set up to come and shoot the show and brought my other gear with me and asked if I could do a portrait like this. So Brent came in the room first. We tried a few different weird shots, just the normal, hey, I'm going to stand here, I'm going to look like this, and I'm going to get some pictures taken, followed by, hey, hold your hands out. Now look up at me with holding your hands. And I was able to capture this image, and it was exactly what I was going for. And it's just a really, really cool image of Brent. You have his tattoo. And this was one of the first really, really cool pictures I got when I was shooting musicians, because I usually didn't take around the strobes, but when you're shooting with a D2H, that once you hit 800 ISO, you were looking at Swiss cheese. D2H 800 ISO was like, I don't even know. I'm not even going to compare it to what it is today. It's not even close. But all those people complained about 4 megapixels. Look how clean this was anyway. I've blown this picture up to 30 by 45 without any problem. Light is the friend to digital SLRs. And back in the day, it was even more important. With low megapixels, you wanted to get as much data on there as possible. The strobe allowed me to do that. You can see how sharp everything is. Obviously, shooting at f13, that's going to help. But yeah, shooting RAW. This was around the time I was shooting RAW and JPEG. So I'm gonna go back to that JPEG file just to show you what the camera came up with. This is what the camera came up with. I didn't know any better back then. I didn't know there was in-camera settings. Were there even picture control settings in the D2H? I'm sure there were. I never even touched them. I didn't know any better. There were no guides out there that I found when I was just getting into digital photography. You can see the difference, how flat this is. And sure, you may be able to make the changes, go ahead and edit them, but it's not going to be the same as if you had the RAW file. And to still go back to this file 6 years later and go and make new corrections, because there's new types of corrections we can do that weren't available when I was editing this in Photoshop. It's pretty amazing, and that's why the RAW files are great to have, because they're going to be RAW files today, they're going to be RAW files tomorrow, and someday they may switch to something else, but you'll have enough time to know to change it. So I don't want to go through correcting this, because you know what? it was hard enough to make this correction many years ago, and I've tweaked it a little bit because it used to be too flat. I didn't understand sharpening back in the day. I didn't understand I had to add sharpening. I thought, I didn't realize that the printers added it later, so I started to add it, and that's when the picture started to really pop. Just look at the colors and look at the clarity. And this was coming out of the, the top-of-the-line Nikon at the time, D2H, because the D2X wasn't even out yet in 2004, I'm pretty sure. And I just love this photo. Definitely check out Shinedown. Been around a long time. They are always touring, and this is just one of my favorite rock shots that I've taken. It's just a solid, cool photo that should live on for quite a while, and that's really it. So that's the photo of the week for this week. Jared Polin, FroKnowsPhoto.com. See ya.